Okay. We really request that you mute yourself, please. Let's have some order. Thank you so much for making it during this session. My name is Peter Nyachome. I am going to be the facilitator for you this particular training session, which we expect to run for a period of sometimes after we have discussed the modalities of how we are going to do it subsequently. Today was free for all of us, and that's why we have welcomed all of you into this particular session. So far, so good. My name is Peter Nyachome. I've been a lecturer from 2016, mainly in the Department of Quantitative and Project Management. Actually, I specialize in project planning and management. My main focus so much is in evaluation and data analysis. If you look at, I've guided so many organizations when it comes to composing what you call proposals. And most of them have happened to be successful. And that's why I just want to be sharing with you some of my success stories, which have made the organization I've supported to be very successful when we are coming to composing what you call the grant proposal, because this grant proposal has just like some secrets. When you obey those secrets in order, all of them up to the end, there's no one who is going to reject your piece of paper that you have written to them in mid of request, because there's exactly what they will be looking for in each and every section. Each and every section is going to be reviewed, and whoever is going to review is going to have what you call the checklist against which you will be checking that particular section. That's how this our training is also organized, that each section we have a checklist such that you can be able to review and confirm whether it has met all the standard required. That's the essence of us. And then there are so many other things that we can talk about, but I'm going direct into the proposal itself. There are other elements of even doing what you call donor mapping and all extra, but that ones we can be able to talk about slightly later. So I'm just going direct because of the kind of how this training was designed. So now, the instance here is a book. This book is entitled Right to Win, Secrets of Winning Grants for Donors Funded Projects. This is one of my book, and it's my book that I'm trying to share with you some of the what is in it. Okay, so let's move to the learning outcomes. So the first one, by the end of the first day, you will be able to write a strong introduction and background for the grant proposal in such a way that it can describe the project goal, align itself with the funder's priorities, and build what we call organizational credibility. That's the first our learning outcome. The second one is on problem statement. And perhaps this is one of also the most important area which must be right the first time, because without properly mapped problem, we don't have a case. And therefore that proposal will just be chased away. So participant will be able to create a problem statement that summarizes the problem, present evidence, and places the project in terms of the target group's needs. Well and good. So these are the only two objectives that we have for this our session. And it is for us to say we go now. So let's go. Let's move ahead now. Okay, so most of our training programs, we normally conduct them at this place. So this place is in Nairobi, Meridian Hotel. So we meet what we call organizations send their representatives for the training programs, and then we can be able at least to do what? We can be able at least to empower them. So we are also inviting you for a full-time training with us, when we shall be able to share with us our schedule, especially in the next year's program. So now, first question, and I want you to be able to respond to this question through chat box, please. And this question is all about testing our intro level knowledge. What do donors want to see in the introduction and background section of grant proposal? Now, perhaps we have not learned anything about this, but we are taking the position of a donor. You have been given a proposal by the CBO or the NGO, you are reviewing it. And the first section that you have come to is this section called Introduction and Background. Why can you be able to write something in the chat box, what you think you will expected of you? What are you supposed to describe there under this section? Okay. As we maintain order, that we don't have anyone who is entering our class with the mic on. Please, I will be removing anyone with the mic on, so please don't blame me. I will be removing anyone with the mic on because I have that powers from my side. So please, if you want to be in my class, can you mute for the sake of others, please? Thank you so much. Well and good. So please make use of the chat box. Let's write something concerning your position. Imagine you are the donor. What can you, and someone has given you a grant proposal to review, and you are in the first section called Introduction and Background. What do you expect there? What do you expect to be mentioned there? So, well and good, one of you have already started writing something, what you expect to be there. Organizational background, contest analysis, and background checks. Someone has already said organization background. Good, that's a good trial. Let's try because this is going to test on which knowledge are we getting into the class. Number two, Yusuf has told us the budget. Okay, that is good. Okay, another person, please. Your problem statement, a brief of your problem statement. Beatrice has told us that a brief of your problem statement can be mentioned in the introduction and background. That is good. Name of the organization that is requesting for funds. That's very good, Ebenezer. And then the organizational background and the problem at hand. I'm seeing executive summary. Guyo Liban is telling us that in the introduction and background, we need to write a brief for the executive summary. Executive summary. However much I know, executive summary normally comes out somewhere there, then cover letter, then executive summary, then we come to introduction and background. What project is all about? The gap identified? Yes. I've seen Abdi has told us contest analysis, which is very important. The contextual background to the facts is very, very important. Gaps identified. Gaps, we are performing what you call the gap analysis. The gaps that have been identified, okay, that's very good. Now it means that there is something that's already been done. You are not the first one who is doing this project. There is something that has already been done. But then we may say that perhaps they only covered the town youth. They never covered the rural youth. And that's why this time around, we want to cover the what you call youth in the rural area. This is very important. And that's why we are taking this project there. That's a gap. The gap is there is something that has already been done, but it was not done specifically to our target group. So let's take this proposal to be the beginning of us taking that particular project now to the target group that we are describing in this situation. Then now next one is, from experience with most donors on the introduction, they look at whether the proposal has captured the specific area of problem which the donor really wants to support. That's good, Washington. That's good. Organizational background and justification. Compelling needs statement. I see compelling needs statement. Someone has already told us, Abel, like that. In the background, you talk about the challenges facing the locality. Wow, this is a very beautiful class. This is a very good class. and project sustainability. So we have a lot of ideas, and that's exactly what I wanted. I wanted to brainstorm over a possibility of us perhaps talking like this. And if we behave like this our class is going to be fantastic and much interesting. So let me move to the next question that perhaps I want to talk about. And my next question after we have assumed the question of the donor, we want to move to the next level. Let me see. Yes, look at this my diagram, please. Look at this my diagram. This my diagram is presenting two scenarios. So next, again, I want us to briefly describe what you can see. Contrasting, there's two elements of contrast here. There is a situation here in my left, and there is a situation on my right. So we can be able to bring in what you call a brief description, because we are almost hitting the road now. Can you again now present what you can see? Observe something there and write in the chat box what you can be able to see from the diagram. Yes, me, I can see a lot of things. I even seeing some children who are naked. Yes, I see the children who are naked there from one side. So please, can somebody tell me what you can see? The picture you are seeing already, because remember, this picture alone is enough for you to conceive a project, and then you get funded from this particular picture, because this picture is very fantastic. Okay, let me start reading the picture. Clean water and dirty water. Yes, another person has told me he's seeing the teamwork. He's seeing teamwork. I'm seeing clean water and dirty water. That's a good. In the diagram, I can see a place was dry and changes to green. That's very good observation. From dry to green. And remember, the green simply reflect life. The green simply reflect there's some element of life there. That's very, very fantastic. Also tell me, okay, I've already said that anyone who is not obeying our rule of unmuting, we are just simply going to kick you out from our meeting, please. We block you completely. So sorry for that. So let that be the last time, please. Let's be people who are obeying rules. Yes, rules are there so that at least our training will be successful. Wonderful, guys. You are good. Good. So let me read the comment. Winter and spring. I'm seeing winter and spring, a dry place and a place where there's rain. Environmental pollution versus conservation. Naked children, perhaps because they are poor. Good. I see harsh and conducive environment. There are two elements of contrast here. The difference clean and potable water can bring to the community. I can see thatched house versus the iron roofs. Stephen has told us that. That's good, Stephen. First situation is a community which has resources but has not fully utilized the resources. The second diagram is a situation of empowered community, water pump, and all manner of good things are there in the community. Then current situation, left side of the image depicts a rural community in Africa facing challenges with water accessibility. Villagers, including children, are seen collecting water in buckets, highlighting a struggle with water scarcity. The environment appears dry and developed and emphasizing lack of infrastructure and basic facilities. Abel, this is fantastic. I can see you are guys who are fully prepared for this particular session. There is water pollution somewhere there, Liban. That is true. Even me, I can observe from my side, there is an element of water pollution. Picture on the left describe the problem statement, and picture on the right describe relevance and outcome of proposed project. Emmanuel Kenny is now hitting it on the head direct, that there is an element of a problem being contrasted with the solutions on the other side. The outcomes are on the other side, but this side is the situation where is the problem. And actually that is the problem that is bringing us to the introduction and background come the problem statement. Let me tell you, from that diagram alone, you have already completed this introduction and background statement, because whatever you can describe there exactly will go down. We only need now to obey rules of writing it so that we can be 100% correct. Go, Liban, one side there is scarcity of water, poverty, and another side, oh, good, there is wellness. Now, I'm able to bring in, let's even stop there because you guys have a lot of things to say about this. Now, I can even just say that we are contrasting something that there is there's somewhere where there's some challenges and there's some problems there. There are so many things, but then there's what you call a bridge. There's a bridge, and the bridge is supposed to take us to our desired future. That bridge is what we are calling as the proposed project. And this proposed project ideas is what we want to share with our Mr. Donor, so that the donor can read it and say, wow, I have to be part of this dream. I have to be part of this dream this time, so that I can also be able to save life of the following people. Exactly that's what brings us to today's session of trying to understand how to conceptualize the concept of grant proposal, which we are using now as our weapon of moving. After we have received funds, the project we have proposed there will make us from the left-hand side to the desired future, where things are so good, things are so green, yeah, because there's something that has been done there in the middle. And that particular thing is what we're calling as the project. So because of that, we can now freely move. We can now freely move to the, so even if at all I give you this picture alone to write the grant proposal, you can already give it and perhaps narrow it down there to some context in terms of a certain village, which the situation can be experienced there. And on top of this, there is one word: together we can create a change. Automatically, there is undesired issue here, but then the project in the bridge to take us to the desired future.
Yes, there are some things that already the child is, getting to understand.
Okay. Someone is disobeying the rules here. We want to move out from our class now, as the first casualty of our making noise in our class. Okay, so please, let's not move anyone out, but let's be disciplined, please. Let's move on. Look at this situation. This is another wonderful picture. Look at this picture. Yes, look at this picture. You see so many students, even I don't know. And then they are carrying jerry cans, and I don't even see the element of school around there, which simply means the school is far away from this. Now, if you look at these kids, all of them are very happy. They are enjoying. And as a result of that, they are going to waste a lot of time at this water point. Now, I don't know this particular time whether they are going to be compensated when they go back to the school. If this situation continue like this, then we are wasting the brains of so many pilots, so many doctors, so many engineers. We are going to waste them as a result of this particular scenario. And as a result of that, we don't want to waste these children. Let's bring in water, sanitation, and hygiene program in their school, which will reduce what you call the distance covered for these children to be able to access water easily. So we can easily bring a very strong basis of bringing water, sanitation, and hygiene to this particular school. That with that picture, you can be able to see a problem that at least needs to be sorted out. So now, let's come to the main thing here: key components of introduction. What should go into the part of the introduction and the background section of our grant proposal? Number one, please begin this section with a compelling sentence that summarizes the aim of what we want to do. Example: this project seeks to empower 500 rural youth in Oyugis with job-relevant digital skills, directly addressing the challenge of high youth unemployment in the region. Now look at that. I'm always hitting it directly. What is the aim of this project? Please, can you bring it at your opening sentence? The aim is to empower 500 rural youth in this town called Oyugis with job-relevant digital skills, directly addressing the challenge of high youth unemployment in the area. So we need to bring in the purpose first in the introduction and background. Bring in the purpose of the project first there. Then after that, move into the second sentence where you will be talking about the contextual factor. Describe the problem as it is. Then provide a clear and conscious description of the problem. Here, we must back up the problem with some statistics. And when I talk about statistics, it's going to be a mix of quantitative statistics and qualitative statistic. Qualitative statistic is to add value to the quantitative one. When I talk about quantitative statistics method, then I'm talking about numbers. Like for instance, in this town, 60% of the youth aged 18 to 25 remain unemployed. That is the main thing that we want to sort out here. 60% is a very great large number. And remember, all these 60% are being wasted in the community. So we must be able to do something. So what is it that we want to do? Bring it in. We want it. Why are they unemployed? Bring in the issue why they're unemployed. Because they don't have marketable skills like plumbing, like doing things like masonry. They don't have those skills. Because remember, those skills are very important. You can sell them immediately. When you train as a mechanic, you don't need to take so long before somebody employs you. You find somebody's car which has broken down, just tell him that you are a mechanic and you can be able to manage that particular problem very well. And you exchange money there and you sort that person immediately. And those are the skills we are targeting to give this youth. Now, another thing where these youth are employed is the concept that they have limited opportunities for economic independence. The opportunities are very few. So in the process of our program, we shall be thinking of how to expand opportunities for the youth. So why this, then when you have already brought the problem, explain why this problem is important. Within the context of local context, regional context, and perhaps the global context. And in the global context, we shall be bringing in perhaps how this eradication of poverty, eradication of unemployment is connected to some global agenda. This global agenda, currently, we are taking them from what you call our SDGs. Our SDGs are pursuing what you call the global agenda. And anytime we are writing our grant proposal, you must be ready to connect to what you call the global agenda. Or if this particular proposal was designed by, perhaps it is the call for proposal was made by a specific NGO that is ready to give us funds, or a specific foundation that is ready to give us funds, let us go deep into their strategic plan and bring in how this particular project is meeting one of their strategic objectives or goal. That particular linkage, that particular connection is very important in this case, so that we justify that whatever we are doing is there to meet your priorities, is there to fulfill your specific objectives. So if at all we do it like that, we are going to be presenting only one message: we are ready to work for you. And they're looking for partners. So the partners that are going to implement project on their behalf, that is what they are looking for. And this is what we are raising and telling them almost at the top there, that here we are ready to work for you. We are pursuing part of your agenda. This is a global concern, and it is clearly specified in the global objectives that we want to meet by the year 2030. And that is specified in the SDGs. So examples of this is like, for instance, we are looking like this, addressing we are saying that if at all we address this youth unemployment, what are we going to achieve? This issue will contribute to reducing poverty, enhance economic growth, and create skilled workforce. And as a result of that, those things that the youth are doing currently because they are jobless, engaging in drugs, engaging in crime, will definitely come down, and the world will be more peaceful as everyone is engaged. Even the disease burden will come down because people are really committed in pursuing what you call economic agenda. So we have talked about two areas that must be put inside here. One is how you introduce yourself, bring in the purpose of the project itself, then come down to analyze the contextual situation where we are painting the picture of the problem and perhaps what perhaps is leading to that particular problem. When we talk about what is leading to that particular problem, though we are going to emphasize it more when we come to the problem, when we're doing what we call root cause analysis, but here we just present it in that particular picture. But I've also said that we can present quantitative and add it with what you call qualitative, but it's more refined. When we are talking about the problem in the introduction, we only highlight this quantitative, but in the problem statement, we combine both qualitative and qualitative together so that there is going to be an element of reinforcing the figures. Figures require some element of reinforcement. And I will train you in a more specific way how we normally approach that concept of reinforcing the quantitative aspect. And remember, when we are talking about quantitative aspect, we are supposed to pick those quantitative figures from credible sources. The documentaries like the government publications and the research, those are the elements where we are expected to pick in those our quantitative supporting documents. Then now, relevance to the donor mission alignment. I like how the project aligned with the donor. This initiative directly aligned with the donor focus on the youth empowerment. So that one we have said they are, point 2 and 3 are almost bringing together. Then immediately you have done that particular kind of alignment, move to the overview of your organization yourself now. The people, many of you have talked about your organization. That organization is needed. When you come into your organization, please don't tell us a lot. We are only interested perhaps in your historical expertise. Introduce your organization and its experience level. What have you done over the past which is similar like this, which put you in a position to be the better candidate to fulfill this? So we talk like since 2010, our organization has trained over 3,000 individuals in vocational training and entrepreneurship skills, with 70% securing employment after that. This is a success story. What have you accomplished over the past relevant to the project at hand of youth empowerment program? So we have trained almost 3,000. So if we are going to train 500, this one will not defeat us. We shall use a similar model of success also to ensure that we increase the success rate of this particular 500 to the magnitude of perhaps 70% level of our previous performance. So this is a CV. So we are presenting our CV to the donor with particular interest or particular focus on what we have done, which is similar to what they are looking for in this particular context of the project. Now, we come down slightly and describe our credibility. In terms of the credibility, we shall talk about specific areas like the awards we have received over the past because of good reporting, the references that we have been received, and any accolades that the organizations have received, and entire partnership network that we have developed is also needed for reference purposes, and we need to bring them back. We are not on an island. We are not on our own in this field. Other people are also there pursuing the similar objectives, but our approach must be presented to be unique, and that's why we have past success stories. And because of that, we are the credible organization to take over this mantle to the next level. So please partner with us, release for us this particular funds because of that, our credibility. So we bring in the element of what you call our credibility in that particular section. Then immediately after that, I come to describe the target group. The target group is very, very important. The target group description. So identify what? Identify the target group, people of groups to the project is designed for, and tell us their demographic, like their age, their gender, the location and socioeconomic status. Like for instance, this project will target unemployed youth age 18 to 25 in Oyugis, with a special focus on women and marginalized group. That's what we want you to describe there, that your focus area, unemployed youth, 18 to 25. In where? At that geographical place called Oyugis town. Now, what is the special focus? Our special focus is women and marginalized, the disadvantaged members of the community. They are the ones we are focusing in this our proposal. Then I bring in the entire stakeholders network. Mention how stakeholders include beneficiaries have been or will be involved in the project. Also, you can be able to bring it there. And then you can come down to talk about the goals and specific objectives at a higher level and at the specific level. Those objectives and the goals need to be smart. So we can be able to talk about that briefly. And then compelling narrative. Yes, this is where the rubber meets the road. Look at this. We are trying to bring in some qualitative aspect of our interview we have conducted with one of what we call the youth. So one example is this. Jane is 22 years old from Oyugis, dreams of becoming a graphic designer, but lacks the necessary skills and tools. This project will provide youth like Jane with the resources and training they need to achieve their aspiration. We can go ahead to interview Jane as he is telling us about the challenges he's experiencing, and we record that, and we can even be able to share if we are allowed with what to call evidence, because this is an element of qualitative aspect which is backing up the quantitative figures that we talked about, 60%. That 60%, when we conduct interview, that interview result needs to be backed up with what you call the quantitative aspect of it. That's how this is supposed to be done. So we said about we are mixing up data. Both qualitative and quantitative needs to be mixed up so that we can have something big. Then we come to sustainability that one of you said. Brief on how the project impact sustained funding. After this project has been funded, trained participants will serve as a peer trainers, ensuring skills are passed on for future generations. Once you fund us, the very people that have been trained, they will now continue training people in that particular village, and this skill will continue to be shared like that all throughout. So we shall never come back to you again because of this clear plan of our sustainability. But this one, others we shall talk about later. What is more important is that all these elements that you have discussed about here are supposed to be in the introduction. So now, I've finished with the introduction. I just want now to present examples. And I begin with the example of a poorly written introduction. And perhaps I will allow one of you to read it, and then you go to the chat box and tell me what is missing here that we need to have rectified. So please, can someone from your side read for us this introduction, please?
But we can't see any introduction. We are still on the slide of relevance, brief overview, credibility, but we are not on any other slide. Maybe you can move the slide to the next one.
Okay, you are still in there.
Class.
Relevance.
Free.
Yes.
Then they said, if you look at it and it is good, you can pay. Now,
okay, now look at this. Look at this. I will go back because we are going to still emphasize on exactly what that is just brief of it. We are coming to what you call critique of introductional background. We want to read a poorly written one.
Please first mute those people that are speaking. We can't hear.
Okay. Good. Please, I will no longer say I will mute them. I will just kick them out from our class, please. If your mic is not mute, can you ensure that your mic is mute so that we can have one class, please? I will give ample time for exchange. Evans, your mic is not mute. Irene, please, can you mute your mic? Christine Kitonga, can you mute your mic? John Machar, can you mute your mic, please? We are just begging, please, because you are good people. I know you are going to obey. Good. I see people are becoming obedient. Yes. Okay. So that's good. So we are saying that we are moving to another level where we want to do a critique of. We want to do a critique of existing work. We are doing a critique. Yes.
Yeah, the slide is stuck at the credibility. So kindly move to the next slide. We can't view.
Okay. Let me see where the problem is. Let me see where the problem is, please. And then at least I can be able to rectify that very fast. Okay. I'm sorry that now we are almost at the limit. So many people are going to be blocked out now. Okay. Okay. Are you able to see me? Are you now able to see me?
Yeah, we can now see, but we are requesting you start from where it stopped, from credibility, so that we can follow the slides, because you are already in slide 11 and it was stuck at around slide 3.
Okay. Let me just move. Where was I? Where was it stuck? Credibility.
Yeah, you can pick it from here, from the compelling
relevant to donors.
Relevant, yes. But
from the compelling relevance. Okay, so we are saying that the compelling narrative.
Excuse me, you've also raised some questions.
Just keep the question. You can write them in the chat box. I will be able to.
It's in the chat box.
Okay, let me just check them. Immediately I'm done with this presentation, I'm going to address all of them. So we are saying that compelling narrative connect the problem and use a story to illustrate the need.
Please,
and
members
potential
at the
impact.
background, can we kindly mute off our microphone?
Emmanuel. Okay. Please, can you mute, please? Can you mute your background, please, so that we can have one class? We are so many. If we allowed all of us to talk like that, it's going to be a market. Yes, let's have a class. Thank you so much. We are saying that under compelling narrative, we can use this in two perspectives. We can use it as part of the qualitative evidence I was talking about when we are justifying the quantitative aspect of 6. Compelling narrative like this. That Jane, a 22-year-old from Oyunis town, dreams of becoming a graphic designer. But what Jane lacks is the necessary skills and tools so that he can be able to acquire that particular profession. This project, if we are funded, will provide people like Jane with the resources and training needed so that they can be able to achieve their aspirations. And when you talk like that, anyone is interested in connecting with you because you are giving live practical example to bring in how the beneficiaries will be able to receive their aspirations. Then we come into how this particular result, that particular proposal will be made to obtain what you call durable results. The durability of the result is based on our clear sustainability plan. And one of the sustainability plan we are putting in place is the trained participants today with the skills they've acquired. We shall also give them some youths that are yet still young out from school. They will also nurture and train in that particular manner. And since we sponsored them, they will be training even free. We shall be encouraging a lot of volunteerism in whatever we do. So in that process, we already have a clear plan of how after funding, there will be a clear path for sustainability. However, I've told you that there's going to be a section on its own where we shall demonstrate our competence to this section called sustainability. So we shall have a clear sustainability plan in our grant proposal. Almost last after the budget, we go to this section called sustainability. So please, can we again mute? Can we again mute, please? Can we again mute? Because we are almost through so that I go into most of the questions that are already in the chat box. So let me just move slightly to the next slide again. Okay, so let me go to the chat box before we do what you call critique of what is already presented to us as an introduction. Please mute. Okay, we are screenshotting. Please be slow on slides. People are disturbing us. Please mute yourself. Kindly start from credibility. Please, instructor, use the host management button to mute all the participants so we can hear the lesson. Kindly, can I read and find the session by my email? So there's questions. So there's no problem, please. You will be able to get anything that we are going to share. This session, we said it was free, and therefore everything is free. We are going to share everything from the PowerPoint up to what we call the Zoom recording. What I will do, because we are so many, I will share it in our YouTube, and then I put it in that particular group where we are, so that you can be able to see everything. So good. So there's no problem for that. So now let's talk about this critical review, please. Some are even now stuck. They are not able to join. They are writing in the messages here. Some are saying that the class is canceled. The class is not canceled. The class is on. Okay, so everyone deserves education and learning helps them evolve. School here in town isn't the best and students don't have books and desks. There are few teachers too, which is not conducive to education. We'd like to remedy these issues and support the students. We will have good learning opportunities for the community and kids will learn more if we win the grant. So that is the introduction and background. So it's our responsibility in our chat box, please. Tell me the linking, what is not put here, what is poorly done here, because these are poorly introduction, and this is how most people beginning to write proposal write. So we have opportunity to criticize this. So tell me, this is not included, this is not included, so that we already satisfy ourselves that we are already moving in the right direction or right track. So please, let us perform what you call a critique. A critique is somehow advanced learning methodology where you expect a person to highlight perhaps what went well and probably what did not go as per our standard. I've already talked about the standard, but more than the standard, I will already be addressing what you call the checklist for this particular section. So before I go to the checklist, let's review the poorly written one and the best one. Can we write something in the chat box, please? Abe has said the beginning statement wasn't compelling. That is true. There is no statistical backing to that particular introduction. That the style of the narrative is very poor. Actually, I agree with you. That style, if you give it to the donor, they will switch off immediately. Let me tell you, when you're reading a script which is not flowing well, you switch off your mind completely and you wonder which kind of school did this person go to. So that's why we have to do things right. So let's move again. It's very poor statement. Introduction is not clear and conscious. Okay, I like your argument. We are also talking about we are lacking statistical backing. We are lacking so many things. Opening statement is vague. That is true. It is very, very broad. Nothing tangible. First paragraph is not good and the introduction is not good, sir. That is true. Yes, no data to support the claim. That is true. We are lacking data to support the claim. Yeah, the purported qualitative narrative is poor with no quantitative backing. That's correct. Introduction lacks facts and figures to substantiate the statement. It's not clear and precise. The real situation or problem is not captured. No statistic at all. Josephine, I said that. Augustine has told us the real situation or the problem is not captured. That is true. In my opinion, the writer lacks clarity. The writer may even lack what we call a grammar. Even the grammar is pathetic. So everything that we are talking about is no success statement. The organization has not been described. Objectives are not stated. Look at that. And those are the exact grants that people are sending to the donors so that they can be funded. So immediately, anyone that attended this workshop, there is no one who can be able to write something like that. So you are going to be better because you are getting the marking scheme on how we need to start, how we need to end, whatever we need to support, learn about the slap. And look at this now. The so-called Nini is not captured. The so-called the so-called need. Donna is about to slap the presenter. Okay, it's not showing significance to local, national, and global context. We are not even being told how that particular project is connected to the organization that is requesting funds, and also how it is connected to the donor priorities in terms of the SDGs and etc., or the strategic objectives of the donor. So there is no, that kind of alignment is missing. Good. I think you guys are just wonderful. You have done me great. Your contextual analysis is poorly packed. That is true. Another thing that you can be able to see from far from that place, no linkage to the global context. That's right. There is no global context linkage, and probably the SDGs are not being linked or the strategic objectives to the donor. Remember, we are requesting for funds to meet the donor priorities and objectives, and that is what is missing in this context. That's good. So No sustainability plan mentioned. That is true. There is no sustainability plan. Yes. So please, there is so much that is missing in this particular background. Please, 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 let us obey. Let us obey. There is normally a song of and obey. We will sing it just in a few minutes time now, so that we can be able to comply with this. So you have seen that we can be in a position to critique this particular section. What we are putting ourselves is that we are now reviewers. If you meet a kind of a grant proposal like this, you can be able to list down what is, if you are supposed to give this person 10, you will end up giving 2 or giving 3 over 10. So, and you justify your reason because of what is missing. Remember, what I was simply giving you, I will go to a section of what you call the checklist, where each and every component in the checklist is 1 mark, until you can be able to get our 10 marks in this particular section. Because normally when this section is being reviewed, it's only 10 marks. So how do they give that 10 marks? So once you have the marking scheme, you will write it in such a manner that you get 10 marks, because whatever they are going to check, all of them are going to be included here. So that is very, very good. And that's why it's very important that you know the marking scheme for each and every section, so that you don't ignore any content, because when a person is going to mark your proposal, he will mark you against a certain rubrics. And that is what we need to compare, that whenever we are writing, we capture all key areas that will maximize our scores. Good. Okay, let's move now to the next level. This is now a good one. This is now a good one. This is now the one that we are expected to write. Now, you bring in the introduction. So look at the introduction for Oyugi's Youth Empowerment Program. Normally, we like situation whereby we are bringing the first initial introduction. So this project will subsequently be called OYEP. So in Oyugi's town, this simply means is bringing in that particular purpose that we talked about. A rapid developing community in Homa Bay County, more than half of the youth, 15 to 25, are unemployed and lack access to skills training. This has exposed them to poverty, marginalization, and life-sucking lifestyle. Although young people comprise most of the local population, the area lacks much organized training for work, enterprise, and personal growth. So we have already done with what we call introducing what is it that we want to sort out to this particular community. I really want to talk with John. John, please, your background. John, your background is messing us up totally. Thank you so much. Now, in Oyugi's Youth Empowerment Program aims to close this gap by offering targeted interventions that will give perhaps 1,000 youth hands-on skills, mentorships, and materials for sustainable livelihood. One of the things that we shall train on is on business, and then we shall even give them some kind of seed capital, so that the ones that have already trained can already go into establishing some small enterprises as a revenue of income generating activities. And that will be done on a rotational basis as a component of sustainability. We deliver our program in order to promote entrepreneurship, employability, and social cohesiveness by tapping into the local resources. And then the next thing, after tapping the local resources, what shall we do? We shall bring in the private sector, the community stakeholders together, so that at least these youth can be supported once for good. This campaign is based on long-term needs analysis. This needs analysis, it is us who conducted it in the last year, and identified that 75% of young unemployed people in the Oyugis have never had a chance to receive skills development workshop, and 80% of them want to establish small businesses, but are prevented by knowledge, mentorship, and seed capital. Therefore, OYEP will remove these barriers by providing relevant and innovative career training, entrepreneurs programs, and employment services based on local community unique circumstances. Now, we don't have data in this case, but what have we done? We have gone there to quote our survey, which we did. And that particular survey is what is bringing our quantitative figure here of 75% in this particular area have not done. If we look at the government publications, even what you call the county government economic survey, there was no any mention about youth skill matrix perhaps that had been conducted before. So it forced us to do what you call a baseline survey, which is usually the first step for effective programming, is to understand what is in stake, yeah, in the people that we want to support. Through boosting Oyugi's youth, the program complements the Kenya government vision 2030. That's now how this particular program is linking to the national goal. Strategies to reduce youth unemployment and the donor aim of promoting inclusive growth. With your help, OYEP will change the lives of 1,000 youth, helping them realize their potential and giving them at least to have hope again. Okay, that's very, very important. So now, that is a well-written introduction. That is a well-written introduction. We only have it to that particular level. So when I'm going here is how it should be. When it is being marked, you check each and every section. Is this context and relevance being described? So tell us explicitly why you are proposing it. Why are you proposing this project? Give a high-level summary of the issue or the need being solved. Show how the problem matters to the community, industry, or in the region. Use data and statistics to be able to support this. So if a person has comprehensively captured that, you give one under that section. Then you move to the next is organization overview. Describe your company, describe your NGO, describe your CPO, describe your faith-based organization, what it does and what their vision is, and perhaps their mission statement. Make sure to point out your organization knowledge and experience level, your expertise, whatever you have accomplished over the past, the program initiatives that you have successfully done well, which is clearly linked with this one, giving us your CV, present it there. If this you read and a person has captured that, give another 1 mark in that section. Then you move to alignment with the donor goals. Is this particular project we are doing clearly linked with what you call the donor priorities and goals? Link your project goals to the donor mission, priorities, or funding goals. Adopt clear language anchored in the donor statement objectives and priorities. If a person has done that, give another 1 mark. So a person has just scored 3 marks in that particular line. Then target audience description. Identify that the paper you are reading, he has described the target audience well. Yes, when he has described the target audience well and actually told us the focus area, give another 1 mark to identify the people or the community to whom the project is. Describe their demographics information. Explain how the project will meet their needs. Okay, so give another 1 mark. That's 4 marks a person has just acquired in the introduction and background because of obeying rules. Then we move to the next level. Problem statement. Now it's our time to figure out a brief story of problem statement in the ground. Move to the problem statement. Do not write too much about the problem statement because we have a section on this one, but briefly describe the problem, okay? And then specify the key objectives that you want to achieve with this particular program. Briefly, just make them briefly, dwell on the goals in a way that is more refined. Then your tone and engagement. Keep the tone professional and yet compelling to hold the donor's attention. Be conscious and keep things simple and just make them sound good. Don't use jargons. Don't use those big languages. No, don't do like that. Just be very simple, but then remain professional as much as possible, attending the language that you want to. Supporting evidence. Please use sources that you believe support the data or claims. Government reports, published studies. Do not overwhelm yourself with too many numbers. Just include those which are relevant. And if possible, substantiate that with what you call the qualitative report of interviews or focus group discussion. Okay, then length and structure. Keep it simple. 1 to 2 pages is maximum. The best is to be even 1 paragraph, 1 page, unless donor guidelines say otherwise. Because remember, we are writing it for the donor. So donors may even say, this section only write 500 words. Please ensure that it is not more than 500 words. Then immediately you have done it well, please even pass it to one of your friends to read it. Examine grammar, spelling, and punctuation, because that is also going to attain 1 mark. Check to make sure that you comply with the donor style of writing, and possibly pass it to your friends for critique in checking the grammar and spelling mistakes, because that is also going to earn you 1 mark. So that's how 10 marks are going to be acquired or generated in this particular section. Immediately you know that, you will be writing it from what you call the marking scheme point of view. So we are going from what you call the donor guidelines and or the RFP. From the RFP, we are going to a section called Introduction and Background, and reflecting back into how we are now written ours, so that you can mark it before you send it outside there. Good. So now I open up section.
We saw him. He didn't call me. We saw him at the house because we kept going there every day.
I want questions now.
And it was the day that he told me that he had dropped it.
Good. So the questions are here, but somebody is really interfering. God, Jesus. Someone is really interfering. Yeah?
Please,
it's actually a big debate. And we're even wondering why it entered the class. Okay, so that's good. So now, immediately I've done that, I will move to the next level. But before that, I want to check the questions in the chat box so that I can respond to them now. So the first question, okay, say notes. How do you prove expertise when the organization is a startup? Okay, startups, okay, we may not have done any project, but then the team that is going to implement this project must have that expertise capable that they are even drawing from other organizations so that they can be successful here. So that's how to prove it. I may not have any expertise, Caroline, but the expertise that I'm having is my training, like the lead consultant here is actually somebody with perhaps a level almost to a PhD level in project planning and management, and he has managed several other projects in XYZ organization. So when he's coming to here, that wealth of experience will be a plus to us. And therefore, we are actually sure that this project, we can able to implement it very, very well. And we can even attach CV of this particular gentleman at the end of our proposal as and attachments and appendixes. So that is allowed. So in case you are new, that does not say that when you are new, you cannot start. There is ever something that you can start. And there's a way by which you can be able to twist and respond to that. You may lack any accolade, you may lack anything. We just registered last year. We have not done any project. But in the world of NGO and resource mobilization, immediately you register like this, please start partnering with other people. When you hear that there's even a work to raise money for cancer construction of hospital, be the first one in lead. Take your banners there so that you take some pictures, you go and post in your social media platform. Let me tell you, in the world of donor resource mobilization currently, the social media platform plays a very key role. No one will give you money without perusing through your social media platform. So ensure that you have an active account there where you're posting those partners. You go there, you partner with people. You must have your banner. You must have everything ready. When you hear that there's even a run going to collect money for something, you are the first #1 to be able to take with you your banner. You are like part of the sponsor. You're just gaining what you call profile in your social media platform. Well, those are the what will earn you credibility. So don't say that you're just sitting there, perhaps like we are still waiting for donor one to fund you is when you start. No, start with partnering with others, start with supporting others. It is a social welfare thing. It's not us alone. Anyone who has been funded, let me be the first person to be able to support them. And we can even start with some play, very simple play, like even organizing the cripple so that they play football. They let it be that you are the one who has sponsored that. When they play football and you capture those photos, you go and put in your YouTube and those are social media platform, that you are trying to make these people be more energetic. You are trying to make these people think less about their problem, but get focused that there's a life beyond that particular problem so that they live positively. People will really be able to, so that you are the people with the right attitude. And therefore, we can fund you even if at all you are a startup. There's no problem for that. Most donors request for proposal using template. So how do we manage that via vis-a-vis this vital information? Good. We are in the template world. They will give you the template, please. Sometimes you do not even pay template. They give you email to respond to. They give you spaces, and you just respond to that particular email. That is their proposal format. No, we may not have specifically. And remember, we have two types of proposals that we are talking about here. At proposals where the donor want. he has put in the RFP, or they are put in what you call notification for funds availability. So in that particular order, notification of funds availabilities, the foundations normally float in their website. When they have funds, they notify the public that we have funds in the following area, we are funding what you call HIV/AIDS, please bring in the proposals. And the big NGOs talk about the grant proposals, RFP. So the RFP, you check the RFP they have given. Now that is solicited proposal, solicited in the fact that they are the ones, it originated from them. Yeah, it originated from them. Now, it originated from them is when you're putting up a proposal. That kind of proposal has a high chance of being rewarded in case you write it well. But then there's another kind of proposal where you just write a proposal and then you want to take it to an organization. That is called unsolicited proposal. That particular kind of proposal has a very low chance of being rewarded. But then there are conditions when you can bring in unsolicited proposal. Like for instance, we have been funded a project of some water and sanitation and hygiene program in a certain area. But then as we are implementing that particular water and sanitation, something has emerged which is going to complement the outcome of whatever we are doing now. So I can generate another proposal that the donor never requested, but I sent to them so that they can be able to see, because this particular component is actually adding more value to whatever we are doing. Such kind of proposal also has a high rate of being funded, even though they were not requested, because they are actually pursuing similar agenda that was initially being funded. So in that particular case, you have a reason to write a proposal, even if the donor never requested, but you take to them and they fund you. So that is an ideal situation whereby you can be able to come up with unsolicited proposal. Otherwise, the world of proposal is involved a lot of what we call relationship building. Try to look for someone that you can easily network with so that they update you what is happening in the organization and the areas that they're going to fund even next year. You begin preparing. You try to ask, what is your requirement of reporting? What is this element of just being friendly, this element of trying to know much. Yeah, that is exactly what I'm trying to bring in. So otherwise, it's so good. And I may request that we move on to the final section. Let me just request for water first. Okay, thank you so much. Let's move to this problem statement. Actually, this section of problem statement, if it is not well conceived, we don't have a case, because when there is a case, then it is when this section, they will look for you so that they can fund you. So similarly, please let us write, what do donors want to see in grant section, this problem statement? Just speculating, whatever we did previously, let's engage here also. Just write down in the chat box, what should go into this section? What should go into this section? Remember, we are going to take similar format of what we did with introduction and background, and that is what we are going to do all throughout the sections of this grant proposal. We shall have marking scheme like the checklist at the end, but before that, we shall be reviewing a well-written one, a poorly written one, and then we also talk about the key component of this that must be there. After that, we start reviewing, and that is our format by which this particular training is going to be facilitated. So let's go into deeps. Write something in the chat box. I will be reading one by one, please. Write something in the chat box. I will be reading one by one. The first person has said, critical issues as far as the problem is concerned. The critical issue as far as the problem is concerned. That's good, Vanessa. Hi there, no? Okay. Next, idea, specific issue in the area, specific issue in the area. The donor will be interested in that. That's good trial, Abel. the need and the target group. Yes, specifying the characteristics of the need and the target group. That's good. What the project is trying to address. Yes, what are we trying to address, by the way? So it must come out very clear in this section. Clear definition of the problem. Well, the problem must be clearly be defined. Good. Another one, clearly bring out what the gap is. Yes, that is very good. We said, I hinted something about this gap that Winnie is mentioning. Actually, this is very important. Remember, we are saying that how we are going to identify this gap is that, okay, the previous funds that have been given in this area of youth empowerment only targeted town youths, but they ignored completely the rural youth. So this time around, with this particular funds, if you give us, we shall now target the rural youth that have been ignored. So that's how to bring in the concept of the gap. You are saying that, yes, funding was given, but perhaps what was done was to a narrow scope. So in us, we are going to enlarge it. Context and background, yes. We are going to repeat this section, context and background. That is true. That is true. That is true. I'm wondering who is this that as the people below are really doing it. Maybe, are you the one who is now messing us our class, please? Who is this that is messing up our class? Okay. I don't know who is this that is messing up the class because I see Abby is okay. Please, can you mute? Can you mute so that you can have one class? Can you mute so that you can have one class, please? I actually don't know who is this because I'm checking even down there, I'm not seeing. Yeah? You have brought us to a standstill, please. I say, let us respect others. So I was in the process of trying to alignment with the donor priority, that is good. Presenting the situation as it is, convincingly pointing out the improved situation of the project implemented. That is good. The desired future, bringing, that is simply called the outcomes. So clearly bringing out the outcomes. Evidence of the problem and urgency, that is very good. So explain why. Importance of the project, why is it necessary to tackle it, especially the demographics of the beneficiaries. That's good. So please, let us be able now to move direct so that we can be able to see what is in the next slide, please. Let us move now. Okay, that what donors want to see here. Number one, begin with highlighting context and background. Highlight the problem as the second paragraph. Provide evidence and data if possible, mixed up, both qualitative and quantitative. Start with quantitative, back it up with the qualitative. Mention the affected people, describe them clearly. Mention the consequences if this particular project is not funded. It is called the consequence of inaction. If the council, like right now in our schools, we normally have what you call, there has been an increasing for the first 5 years, there's an increasing teenage pregnancy in our schools. So now, children are getting pregnant at 12 years, 13 years, 14 years. If we say, okay, it's not our children that are pregnant, what will that affect? So this is what you have to mention it here. What is the consequences of inaction? If we say now that's not our responsibility, what will happen? Right now, there's just a statistic that was released perhaps recently in our country about HIV/AIDS infection rate. Now, the HIV rates currently is at the alarming rate within children aged 13 years to this 20 years or 19. These young people, they are very innocent. They don't know what they are doing. They are contracting AIDS. They are engaging in very illicit practices aimlessly. So they have increased this. The rate of age has been brought down seriously, but then the young ones have decided to increase that rate to a level which is becoming unmanageable. So it is now the concern for the parents and all the concerned parties to bring in programs that is targeting these young people. Actually, even the way the young people are behaving is very, very horrible currently. And remember, even the schools, they were told that this will not be caned. And I think the person who said that children should not be caned in school did for us injustice in terms of bringing discipline to the schools. Because the kind of generation we are bringing forth is a generation that can never be advised. And this is a generation we don't know what is going to be the future look like. But after you have brought here this, please can you mention the root causes? Remember, point this and the next one are almost the same. So because remember, we are supposed to do root cause analysis, but then we normally call it performing root and the cause. So now we go deep into analyzing what specifically caused this problem. Why is this problem there? Why is it there? Youth unemployment, because they lack skills. Because there is something that perhaps happened somewhere on the morality of the society that get into the mind of children, and children stop even being serious in their classes. As a result of that, we have a future generation that is going to suffer. So before they suffer, because normally when they start suffering is when they wake up. Kunda, I wish I knew. I could have taken my studies seriously. So before they reach there, please, can we do something? What is the causes of this shift? One of it is the media. What's the role of media in influencing our children negatively? What is the role of this? What is the role? We are trying to look at where we shall attach our objectives. So please mention the root causes, and then the result of the root causes is supposed to be inaction, consequence of inaction. If we say that we are going to see more children leaving school, we are going to see more children becoming hopeless, and when girls, especially girls, when they become hopeless, they are terrible. They lose hope. Now the next thing they resort to is going to the street. We don't want to reach there. As a result of that, let's nurture these young ones so that they can know the importance of behaving rightly, the importance of having what you call discipline, the importance of having that respect, discipline, and having the character which is needed, okay? So that they can navigate the world comfortably. Mention connection to your organization. How is this particular project is part of our priority in our organization that we are requesting for funds? Please, this is very important. Mentioning how the project is connected with your objectives. And next, highlighting how the project is connected with objectives of the donor. It's your objectives and the donor must be matching together so that you bring proper justification why we need to fund you, because it's part of your priorities. It's not afterthought that there is some funds here, can you write proposal? It's my priority, therefore. I'm writing what I'm passionate about. I'm writing parts of what I'm championing about, what I stand for. And that's why I'm looking to partner with you, because we have almost similar objectives. Yes, I have another diagram here for an engagement. Please, can somebody now unmute and tell me exactly what is happening here? Unmute and tell me what is happening here. Just one person. Or you can simply, yes?
Can I be audible? Yes.
Yes.
According to me,
yes.
I see a community where members of it gets water from a dirty source.
Yes.
Water which is being contaminated, in other words, and the hygiene within it is really inhuman. That's how I view it.
That is good. Yes. Molid Abdi Haram, can you tell us what you can see, please? I also
Yes, I see a community that trying to be taken for the water, and the doctor that working for the community, and the guy on the water. So the water environment is not clear, also contaminated. I think that's my
good. I see this good observation. The rest can even write in the chat box because we cannot be all of us to talk. There's unsafe water for drinking. Yes, a rural area, there's abandoned children. Those communities are facing acute water shortage and they are lacking water pans for storage of water. Yes, Liban, that is correct. Yeah, if you see the picture I see is complete. There's an element of poverty. And if you see there's lack of water, the water is completely unsafe. Look at the child. This child is even going barefooted, entering the water, is when he's going to get that water and go back to school and go back to the family. And look at even the houses, the kind of house structure for the family in the background. Very pathetic indeed. But look at also the dry land, everything, there's no life at all. Okay, now, one thing that is very important here is that this child had a dream. The dream of the child, can somebody tell me what is the dream of this child?
To live and to get the water.
The dream of this child is one day when he grow older, he will be a doctor.
Yeah, doctor.
He will be a doctor. Are you seeing that, doctor? That is the same child that when he grow older, he will be a doctor. But now this dream, because of this problem of water, is being put in jeopardy. Because number one, this child can easily, after drinking this contaminated water, this child can easily die as a result of cholera, as a result of dysentery, and all this manner of diseases. So this dream is becoming a mirage. This dream is becoming unrealistic just because of this particular kind of dirty water that this child is facing and this element of poverty. So you, as the organization, when you have seen this, then you come as a bridge so that you can be able to stop this eminent problem, the danger that this child is facing, so that this child can move from realizing this dream of one day becoming a doctor. And that's what we are for. And especially when you bring in elements like this to the donor gets struck. Look at the child, the situation there the child is in, and look at the very bright future the child wanted to be, and then say, wow, we need to get into this. We cannot leave this child, this big dream, to be interfered with just like that. Yeah, so there's something that our program is going to target. Our program has some specific outcomes, and one of the things is to this child. Let this child be a doctor. Let us fight so that this child's dreams can come true. And as a result of that, we are not going to sit down. We are going to ensure that this child will not die as a result of dysentery of cholera. But this child will have, even there is going to be a school down up there where the child can attend. And even this particular kind of houses, we shall make them permanent. And this particular environment, which it does not have life, this environment will have life. And after that, this child can be able to realize this particular dream of one day becoming a doctor. So as a result of that, we must be able to release funds so that we safeguard the life of this child in danger. Okay. So let's move to the next picture, and we see, look at this, another child in Kibera slum. Kibera slum is one of the biggest slums in our country. And then this is a school in one of these slums in the country. But here specifically, children are learning. There's a teacher in front, and then there is one child that is not able to learn because probably this child never ate. But this child had a dream, and the dream of this child was to be a pilot one day. This particular kind of dream is not going to be realized if we don't get in to safeguard this particular situation. So this picture alone is enough for you to conceive a project and write it very nice so that you can be able to pass it to the donor. That's why I'm presenting pictures so that you can have something in your mind. There is a gap here. The current situation where the child cannot concentrate in the class because he has not taken lunch or he never took supper yesterday with the dream, which is why we need to ensure that we provide school feeding program to this child to concentrate in class to realize the dream of being a pilot one day.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, a question.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah. In the picture too, you can see some people outside, people from outside looking at the teacher. What is their own role in that?
Yes. Yeah. There are people outside. There are children.
Is it they are being sent out, or they don't have money to pay for the school fees, or what?
Now, I think the people, if you see
there are three
children
outside.
who are inside, if you see the children who are outside, some have some plates. Perhaps the teacher may be promising to give some food, but the people outside have been blocked out. Are you seeing that they've been blocked out?
Yes, it's true.
There's an element of some food just is coming, but then there's some children that are being sent out so that they cannot be part of the what is happening in this room. But inside the room, there's one particular child which is bringing our proposal, this particular child. First, we can call this child to be John. John is our center of focus because John is the why we are bringing this particular project here. John is not concentrating on what is happening in the class.
In the class, yes.
The reason why John is not concentrating is because of John's stomach is empty. John cannot concentrate. So John, we need to do something so that John can now start concentrating to be
able to achieve his dream.
And that is and probably be able to achieve the dream which is up here. And the thing that we want to do is bring school feeding program to this particular school in the slum area, so that the children that cannot be able to afford, this is a school where feeding is based on what the children has contributed, and it is blocking some children out and therefore affecting effective learning in this school.
Yeah, yes. That's true.
So that's exactly what we can be able to see from this particular picture. Okay, so now let's move direct to the key components of problem statements with a specific focus on what should go into this area, so that wherever you are going to write it, you will ensure that whatever we describe, you don't leave even one. You capture them fully so that you can maximize your score in this area. The first is context and background. Just describe the general problem briefly. In Kenya, more than 40% of young people are unemployed, which is a major source of an economic degeneration and social stability. So just describe the problem just like that, bringing in those statistics. Then clear definition of the problem. Please define exactly what problem you are trying to solve. Make the problem real, quantifiable, and relevant. For instance, children in Oyugis town do not have any skill training. Yeah? They don't have any skill training. They lack, and this makes them disadvantage them to be able to be employed because of that lack of skill training. So we move on. Evidence of the problem. Where did you get this problem? Or you created the problem? Okay. We support the problem as at 2022, the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics estimates that only 15% of Kisumu youth between 18 and 24 years old are receiving vocational training. That's a very small percentage. We really need more. Impact on the target population. Tell us how the issue impacts the target group or community. Highlight socioeconomic or environmental implication, like untreated low vocational training drives poverty cycle and fosters that element of crime and substance abuse. So we are trying to describe the target population and how that particular situation is disadvantaged them. It is making them involved in crime, they are poor, and they are looking for money so that they can be able to get something relevant to the priority.
Good insight. They can concentrate their reading.
The project will be part of the donors' commitment to youth empowerment and employment in line with 2024 strategic plan for the donor. Look at the next one, need for immediate action. This is now the agency. Why do we need to act now? Since the county has adopted a new skill development policy, this is a good time to implement training that can benefit the youth, so that at least now more of them will acquire vocational skills that they can increase their employability. So that's the statement that we are bringing that need there. Then lack of current solution. Now, what are we going to talk about here? We are going to talk, some agencies provided skills development. Some NGO or the local government provided some skills, but these aren't directed towards rural and deserved youth. They only focus on towns. That's what I was addressing. So, and that is talking about the gap, the existing gap that require us to intervene. Good. Then now a poorly written problem statement. This is now a problem statement with a lot of gaps, and therefore we need to review it and highlight where the problems are so that we can be able to write a perfect one. Let me just read it because of time factor. There are thousands of youth in Kenya town of Oyugis, most of them without jobs or schools. Poverty is rampant and young people have very few opportunities. Most teenagers are on drugs and in bad ways because they have nothing better to do. Training programs are in short supply in the field, and even the training that is available is not good enough. The issue is the youth don't have control, and so they don't have chance to change their conditions. With no intervention, it will continue to spiral and the young will continue to perish. Girls are likewise infected, though little is being done to combat them. Oyugis has to develop a program that will remedy this situation by providing the youth with training and employment. This initiative will collaborate with Norwegian because they can make people happy. Funders will invest in this project as it can alleviate the issue of young people.
Control West Africans.
Now, this is a badly written case. So we can be able to write down what are the things that are not right here. Can you write down in the chat box, please, what is not right in this particular problem statement?
Write
down as I read this, as we look into the people who are still have not mute yet. Good. That's now okay. Okay, so I think we have written some. No statistics. There's no statistics. Yes, that is true. Context has not even been described well. We don't have to see how that particular program is linked with what you call the donor priorities. There's so many gaps in that particular kind of statement. They're just making big statements and it's just going like that. That's not the way we are going to behave. When is going to be an opportunity for us to participate in this, writing a grant proposal, no specific issues, does not follow SMART objectives formulation. So we have a lot of things to say about that particular grant proposal. And let me tell you, so many proposals are like this. No success story. So many proposals are like exactly like this. The one that go to the donor. They are exactly like this. So, and that's why I brought in the concept of doing what you call a critical review of those bad ones and going to review the good ones so that you see the difference, so that you become better. And since this is an online session, this is the only best way I could be able to achieve this. There's no long-term plan. It doesn't have good impact in terms of what you're looking at. There's even no root cause analysis in action. If we don't fund this, what will happen? Not clearly explained. And all those are what we need to mark when we are going to review this. 1 mark each. Good. So let's move forward because of our time factor, but we shall have time also to interact. Let's now move to perhaps a good one. Is this problem statement? Yeah. Yeah, so the good one now. In Oyugis, young people are structurally denied access to education, employment, and entrepreneurial opportunities and are unable to make contribution to their society, economic, and social life. With the limited funds and poorly planned programs, Oyugis youth has no opportunity to realize his or her potential, fueling poverty and unemployment. Youth disempowerment in Oyugis is fueled by
I am only saying
excuse me, Peter.
the one that
yes.
Excuse me, Peter.
Yes.
Please move to the next slide. We are still on the body one. You are reading, but we can't see what you are reading. Yes, there.
You are still here, or I need to continue?
You got there. No. You go to the good one now.
Yes. Are you at the good one now?
No. Poorly written.
Okay. Then at least let me change like that. That's when I'm going to, let me go back again. If it can now assist. Let me go back up to where I'm seeing the good one. Okay, so this is the bad one. Now this is good one now. Okay, let me start now the good one. So we are seeing the context being described up there and the background. So in Oyugi's town, young
But
people.
we're not seeing still.
You are not seeing still.
Why is it my problem?
I can sit where maybe you can log out and log in and log in again. I can see it very well.
You can see it.
It's clear from my side.
So the participant is the one having the problem from the side. Eh? Can you check?
Now, yeah, you can move to the next slide.
Can you check that you can see the problem statement, and the first sentence is in Oyugi's town. Young people in Oyugi's town, young people are structurally denied access to education, employment, and entrepreneurial opportunities, and are unable to make contribution to their society, economic, and social life. With the limited funds and poorly planned programs, Oyugi's youth has no opportunity to realize its potential, fueling poverty and unemployment. Youth disempowerment in Oyugis is fueled by terrifying death of skills, development, job opportunities, and entrepreneurial capital. Interventions today cannot scale up to these challenges. Youth unemployment is 38% in Oyugis, well above the national average of 13. Kenya Labor Market Report 2023. This is very important. And this one has been, this data is well. So when we are talking about a percentage of our data taken from the government ministry, please tell us what it is now, and also quantify what you call the national average. What is the average national, so that we can compare and say this is so too high and warrant our intervention. Please do like that when we are quoting from this publication.
Peter, just a quick one.
Yes?
Just a quick one.
Yes.
I just wanted to know something briefly in terms of the data, be it quantitative or qualitative, whether it's very important to segregate it in terms of the different age groups, and perhaps maybe if we can disintegrate it or else narrow it in the local context. I don't know whether it is also okay.
Yeah, that's very fantastic. If you can disengage that particular data so that you specify under the girls category and women, if you can have that, but most of the time you'll realize that these government publications, they just talk about these percentages like this, and then they also give vis-a-vis, they do a comparison vis-a-vis the national average. If you look at most of the county government surveys, they normally talk about where they are vis-a-vis the national surveys, the national average that has been taken from Kenya Bureau of Statistics. So they compare, they take that as perhaps their baseline, and they compare where they are, so that it's a kind of evaluation. We are trying to evaluate where we are versus the national average. But if you find such kind that the national average is 13, but then the area has 38 unemployment rate, then this is way far much above. And when you quantify it like that, these are quantitative statistics data that we are bringing as the evidence, and we are bringing citation. Remember, this is now citation, Kenya Labor Market Report of 2023. When that particular donor can go to this particular report, they will find this. And that is very, very beautiful. That is exactly what we are doing. Now we are trying to elaborate this in the second sentence. 25% of youth in the region participate in vocational training, and only 15% are hired. So that's perhaps a lower rate. So what are we going to do? We want to bridge this gap where the number who may be employed after participating may go up. And that simply means we are going to bring in a kind of a social relation between the employers and this particular youth we have trained, so that they can absorb this, our youth, to increase that employability to go slightly higher. Our Kenya government has been running a program like this, funded by the UNDP, of youth employment, Kenya Youth Employment Program. It was called KIEP. It has run for some times. I don't see it. But then you will find that their modalities by which they were running this was very equivalent, so that it's something that can be replicated even to other countries. to be able to tame down what you call the youth unemployment, because youth require practical skills. Number one, the skill is the life skills. That life skills training is how the program was running. I happen to have participated in the program. And then the second part was entrepreneurship training. Once the youth acquire proper attitude, and they are ready to work, then we give them what you call knowledge on business. And then after that, we take them for the second of and attaching them to already existing businesses similar to what they want to pursue in their career. And after they come out from there, we take them to places where they open their own businesses, being given a seed capital of 40,000. That's how the program was running into different phases like that. And they managed to train several youth who perhaps got very low grade in their Form 4. So they were dropout from secondary schools and they never had any hope of making it. But they now brought in practical skills like masonry. And remember, they were not being taken to college. They're being taken to existing people doing. If you're a mason with a plumber, we attach them with somebody who is doing plumbing. If it is a carpentry, we attach them to local carpenters so that they can be trained. We only ask the local carpenters, can you give us we help them design what you call the curriculum they will use to train those particular youth for the next 6 months. And once those youth have already acquired the skills, we take the youth to the next level where we now want the youth to replicate what he has been learning there, where they set up their own enterprises. They are being funded with around 40,000 seed capital so that they can meet some initial component of starting off. So after that, we leave the youth now to begin kick off their life in that particular manner. That's one of the best way by which you bridge in that particular skill gap in what you call the society. Actually, if there's anywhere we need to put a lot of focus is on the youth, because if we do it right with the youth, at least we have a lot of peace in our society. Most of them are idle and therefore they engage in so many of bad things. So that program was somehow very effective. In community interviews, look at that. This is trying to justify the qualitative component of that statistic above there. Young people express anger at the lack of opportunity. Leaders in the community say that crime, drug use, and economic precarity have increased dramatically as a result of this hopeless kind of life our youth are enjoying. Remember, this is a qualitative component of backing it up. So I tell you, this is very, very important in grant writing, that anytime we are quoting this statistic from the government, let's also bring the qualitative part from the local context where we are even the area chief, area administrative, and reporting verbatim from what they are telling us on what they are seeing the youth act, or take just one youth and let's interview that particular youth so that give us some response and we bring it to back up with this particular kind of statistic. If you behave that way, these are convincing power. We are going to convince these donors that there is a strong need for them to bring that particular funds here. So OEP addresses an estimated 12,000 Oyugis 18 to 35 years old who suffer from extreme unemployment and poverty. Women and girls face other disadvantages such as gender discrimination and absence of gender training courses. Without intervention, this is now, if we do nothing, what will happen? Oyugis will face more crime, more social unrest triggered by financial frustration of the youth, growing poverty because youth can't work locally, missed out on demographic dividends in terms of the growth. This is consequences of inaction. That is very, very important that whenever we are writing this section, that consequences of inaction must come out very, very clear. But when you, after consequences of inaction, please, can you go to the root cause? Trying to analyze what are the causes why this particular kind of pathetic situation. So now top problems that drive youth disempowerment, lack of access to, these are now the root cause, lack of access to decent education and training, limited fund for youth focused initiatives, failures in relation between the education system and the labor market, and then the culture that discourage entrepreneurship, and particularly among the women. Now, these are the root cause of this particular problem. And when we are going to design our objectives, when we are going to design our program, we'll make this our priority. Because when these are going to be our priority, then this problem can be solved. Then let's move to the next level. So proposed intervention. So OEP will attempt to tackle these issues through holistic approach that includes one, training and skill development, creating centers to train youth in skill relevant to labor market, then entrepreneurship, mentoring them and giving them seed capital. Then employment connection. We are connecting them to the different employers, which means we shall have database of employers of various skills that we are training so that we can even take our kids we look for them attachments. And when we take you to attachment, we go and negotiate for how you can remain there to increase our our employability of our youth. That is exactly what we are going to do. Then now, let's link this study to the strategic objectives of the world. OIEP is aligned explicitly with the donor priorities in the areas of youth empowerment, poverty alleviation, and community development. The initiative supports the following SDGs. Number 1, SDG 1, no poverty, by giving youth the tools and means to achieve economic autonomy. SDG 4, good education, through making vocational training programs accessible. SDG 5, gender equality, through gender-based initiative to empower women. Look at that. This particular program alone is going to tackle 3 different SDGs. And that's what you are linking it up like that. Then SDG 8 also, healthy work and growth through youth entrepreneurship and employment. Then now our role as the organization, this case perhaps I was talking about, it is Norwegian Research Training Institute. So Norwegian Research Training Institute, who is writing this proposal, research and capacity building experience serve as the foundation for OIEP. The institute decades of experience in providing evidence-based intervention means that OIEP is not only effective, but scalable and sustainable. NRTI will manage program development and implementation and evaluation in order to meet the desired goals. That simply means I've talked about the donor, how the program is linked to the donor. Now I come, how relevant are we with this particular initiative that we are doing? And what do we have that will make us be able to implement it successfully? That OIEP is an innovative way to transform the youth of Ugis, confronting systematic barriers and leveraging NII demonstrated ability to achieve impactful change. Investing in this will help donors achieve their goal of ending poverty. That simply means we are bringing the rationale why they need to bring our funds. And that becomes perhaps the end of that section. And it's very smart if you approach it that way. All the critical areas have been captured. Now let's move to the checklist. Number 1, Mark will come to context and background. Start by providing a quick overview of the problem in general. Give historical or situational background information if appropriate. If possible, please. Next, clear definition of the problem, bring it. Provide quantitative statistic reports or research results. Demonstrate the extent and gravity of the problem. You can add some qualitative elements like testimonies, case studies, and interview to give a human touch to the problem. Identify credible sources only and use those data to be able to support your result. This is why you will be funded. This is very important, that evidence. Without evidence coined in this manner, you don't have a problem. Let's move to description of affected population. Description of, hey, people have really interfered with us, but there's no problem. We are almost through. Description of affected population. Clearly define who the problem affects, age, sex, income, and geographical region. Please, just as one of you mentioned, let's separate the effect to the girls, effect to the women, effect to the youth and the men at the same time if possible. Actually, the current domain of reporting in our evaluations is data will not be clumped together. We must be able to see the impact of that situation to the youth, to the children, and also to the women in that particular, that's the way reporting should be done. So it should be separated in that perspective. The effect of the problem to the target population, let's describe it. That will be a mark in that area. Okay, then let's move to the next level. Root cause analysis, another 1 mark. The causes of the problem. Consequences of inaction, another 1 mark. Relevance to the donor priorities, SDGs, how it has met SDGs, another 1 mark. Connection to us who are writing this proposal, which is called our organization is Norwegian Research Training Institute. How is this relevant to us? Another 1 mark. Proposed transition, simply give a hint of the solution or the outcomes. Another 1 mark. And then the tone and the grammar and all this must be another 1 mark. So look at that. And that becomes the end of our problem statement. And also that comes to almost the end of our training. So now what we shall be doing here now is we shall be moving to anything that requires clarification, please, before we can close down. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. We have done great. We are almost only 13 minutes to our end time. So these 13 minutes, you can be able to interact, and then we can release you in peace. For those who are willing to continue with this fantastic training one by one until the end, because remember, we are now supposed to go to practicals. So as we will be moving to what you call project narrative, I will also be analyzing the content of the project narrative is a little bit bigger. So we can break it into subdomains so that we can have a clear look at it, from describing the project itself, looking the key tenets that needs to be involved in the project description, what must go inside that particular section, so that we be very comprehensive in our approach in writing our grant proposal. We write and we mark. We write and we mark. Every section we can be able to award marks. So we are training also as evaluators of grant proposal. And this is going to assist us be able to have that particular kind of proposal we call grade A. Anyone reading it outside there can only say, wow, good, you have done this wonderful. And it is very simple, very comprehensive, everything wonderful. Otherwise, thank you so much. Yes, thank you so much. So after that, we are supposed to be moving to the what we call as the practical sections. The practical sections. And the practical section involves looking at one of the pictures and conceiving a project using organization. Just begin, just practice, just practice. They say practice makes perfect. Here, that particular word is very good. It actually applies here in totality. Practice makes perfect. I will be practicing, if it is until you become perfect. You are also going to be a consultant in this field. Organization will be inviting you, and you will quote where you trained initially. It is here at Norwegian. And the lecturer in that case was Peter Nyachomi. So you'll be able to remembering me because of the skills I've given you. And some of you will be able to earn a lot of money from it, because this is a skill that is really paying outside there, because so many people have organizations, but they don't know it. Organizations, I will invite you and you go and facilitate their employees on this component. So thank you so much. Thank you.
We have
questions. God bless you. Anyone with questions,
we
please.
have questions.
Yes, questions.
Yes.
Questions. I welcome questions. You can even write them in the chat box. Let's stop recording, please, now. Let's be aware.
Okay. One, I want to ask about the background itself.